teacher forgot to mute everyone and it kept on kicking back to like different people. So I don't want that to happen to us. And I left a playlist in the chat, so if you wanted to use that, feel free. So we'll start on our backs. Just start focusing on your breath. Maybe focusing on your back, making contact with the mat, bottom, legs, back of your head, your arms, hands, and feet. Just noticing how they feel, making contact with the earth. Allowing your shoulders to melt down. Allowing your feet to splay open, palm open. Start to focus on your breath. Allowing yourself to expand your breath, your inhale. And then expand your exhale. Let it be long, coming out of your body. We're going to breathe in at the count of 4. So before we do that, let's just take one round of breath, breathing in, and then releasing out. And then we're going to breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold that breath at the top. And then breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. Again, breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold at the top. And then breathe out for 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can continue this cycle of breath if that feels good for you for a couple more cycles. Focusing on your inhales and your exhales for equal duration, whatever that means for you. Maybe as you are breathing in and breathing out, begin to think of something that will ground you, something that you can focus on throughout your practice today. And be something that you're grateful for. Bring a little gratitude to your practice today. We'll come back to our normal breaths. Maybe bring your arms up overhead, giving your full body a stretch, pointing your toes, reaching overhead. Maybe reaching with your right side body, and then reaching with your left side body. Then let's bring our knees to our chest, Let's rock from side to side. Let's open up our knees a little bit. And then let's close them again. And then open them up a little bit. And then close them. We're going to start to rock up and back until we end up in a child's pose. Big toes together, and then your bottoms towards your feet. Maybe really reaching towards the front of your mat. As you reach towards the front, maybe thinking about, even if it's energetically, pushing your hips towards your feet just a little bit more. Get that nice traction in the middle of your mat. Let's walk our hands to the right. Maybe bring your left hand over your right. And then sinking your left hip down into the mat. Maybe pushing it down into the mat. Feeling the space that you're creating in your left side body. And let's walk our hands to the left side. Feeling that the right side hip going towards the mat. And then let's go back to neutral. Giving yourself one last stretch here, really pushing your hips down towards your feet. And then coming up. We're going to come up on our heels this time. Yeah. And then let's come up on our knees. We're going to come into a little back bend here. So you can either bring your fingers towards the ceiling or you can bring them towards your bum. So whatever feels good to you, but we're squeezing our shoulder blades together, looking up towards the sky. We're still warming up our spines. We want to be gentle. Breathing in, expanding out. And then let's come back to neutral. Let's bring our arms up overhead. Let's twist, opening up to the right. Maybe your gaze follows your right hand. And then you can release your right hand down by your bottom and then bring your left arm up overhead. And your gaze can go towards the ceiling. Maybe trying to keep your hips towards the front of your mat. And then let's bring both arms up overhead, coming back to center. And then twisting, opening up your arms to the left. Your gaze can follow your left arm, your left hand, releasing your left hand down by your bottom and bringing your right arm up and over. And now changing your gaze to the ceiling. And then we're going to come back to center, both arms up overhead, bringing your hands to the mat in a tabletop position. Then we're going to come up into downward facing dog, pedaling out the feet, releasing the head in between your toes. Breathing in, breathing out. Pushing your hands into the mat. Feeling the top of your head to your tailbone. And maybe coming up on your toes. And then hovering your knees over the mat. And then pushing yourself back up into a downward dog. We're going to do that a couple times. So hover and then push back. Again, hover and then push back. And then this time, we're going to come into plank. Feeling the strength in this pose. And then push yourself back to down dog. We're going to do that again into plank. And then back into down dog. I'm going to do that one more time into plank. And then release your body all the way down to the mat. Releasing your forehead. And maybe rocking your head from right to left. Bringing your hands by your head, we're going to push ourselves up into Sphinx. Breathing in here. Breathing out. Bring yourself back down to the mat. And one more time, we're going to push ourselves up into Sphinx. And then coming back down. We're going to come into tabletop. Let's just do a couple of rounds with our hips here. So we're going to walk our hands to the front of our mat. We're going to make circles with our hips, so bringing your hip to the right and then towards the back of your mat and forward. Let's just do this a couple times at your own pace, with your own breath. Warming up your hips. And if you'd like to bring in a little bit of cat-cow, so you can round your back as you're coming forward and then arch your back as you go back. Rounding and arching and making circles at the same time. So you're doing a lot here. And then reversing, rounding as you come forward, arching as you go back. And not too much. It's a subtle movement, a subtle flow. And then we'll come back to neutral. We're going to come up into down dog. And let's bring our right leg up, bending your knee. You can create a little bit of movement in your ankle or your hips or both. Warming up our joints. Waking up our body. And then straightening out your leg and bring your right leg, foot down to the mat. We're going to go to the other side. Left leg comes up bending your knee, creating movement. And then straightening out the leg, lowering down your foot. And then we're going to bring that right leg up all the way up to the sky and then swing it in between your hands, lowering your left knee down. Low lunge here. Bringing your arms up overhead, releasing your shoulders away from your body. And we're going to twist to the right again, opening up our arms, and then releasing your right arm down and bringing your left arm up overhead. And your gaze is towards the ceiling. And then we're going to come back to neutral, so both arms are up overhead. And maybe you sink a little bit deeper into this pose as you bring your arms into goddess arms. And then we're going to frame our foot. And let's come back into half split. So elongating our spine, and if it feels good, hinging over your foot, your leg. And then we're going to come back up, and we're going to come up into pyramid. Do a halfway lift, and focusing on your hips here being squared off with the front of your mat. Activating your core, and then releasing into a fold. Then we're going to bring our left foot to meet the right into our first forward fold. Maybe giving yourself a generous bend to your knees. Interlacing your hands behind your back. Maybe pushing your hands away from your body. Releasing your head. And then releasing your arms, pushing yourself up into standing. Breathing in, hands are going to come overhead. Breathing out, let's come into Tadasana. Rolling our shoulders back. Focusing on your breath. Breathing in, we're going to bring our arms up overhead. Breathing out, forward fold. Breathing in, halfway lift. Forward fold. And then we're going to come into our downward facing dog. Bring our left leg up to the sky and then swinging it in between our hands. Releasing your right knee down to the mat. And when you're ready, bring your arms up overhead. Twisting open to the left. Releasing your left arm down by your legs and then bring your right arm up and over. Maybe thinking about squeezing your thighs together. Even if it's just energetically, it will help with your balance. And then bring both arms up overhead, facing forward. Maybe coming down into this pose just a little bit more. then we're going to come into that goddess, those goddess arms. Squeezing your shoulder blades. And then releasing your arms down, we're going to come into that half split. Elongating your spine. And then folding over. Let's push up into pyramid. We're going to come into a halfway lift here. I love using blocks for this halfway lift. You should have used them before. Halfway lift, activating your core, and then releasing down. The fold, releasing your neck, releasing your head. Maybe bringing a micro bend to your front leg. And then bringing your right foot to meet your left. Maybe grabbing your big toes with your peace fingers and pulling down, elbows out. And then release that, rolling yourself up into standing. Bring your arms overhead. And then coming into another forward fold. Let's come into a halfway lift. And then a forward fold. On the mat, we're going to bring our right foot back into runner's lunge. Bring your chest up. And then using your core and your strength in your legs to bring yourself up into a high lunge. Your arms can come overhead. Your gaze might be towards the sky. And then let's come into a warrior two. Pushing your shoulder blades together, releasing your shoulders away from your ears. Tucking your tailbone under. Then we're going to come into a side angle here. Whatever version of the side angle you'd like, you can come into a half bind or a full bind, whatever feels good for you today. Wherever you are, we're going to release that and come into warrior two again. And then bring ourselves up into a high lunge. Coming into prayer as we twist to the left. So hooking our elbow onto our left thigh, squeezing our hands together and twisting to the left. And then coming back to center, we're going to push ourselves up, our right foot meeting our left, and then we're going to come down into a chair pose. Just really briefly, and then we'll push ourselves up, hands come overhead, and then into a forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold. Bring our left foot back into the runner's lunge. Bring our chest up, so maybe you're on the tips of your fingers here. And then again, using your strength to come up into a high lunge. Arms are going to come overhead. Really squeezing your thighs together, even if it's energetically. And then coming into warrior two. Checking your stance. And then coming into a side angle, whatever that looks like for you. Releasing that side angle, coming back into warrior two, and then coming back into that high lunge. Bring your hands into prayer and twisting to the right. Let's bring our hands up overhead again. We're going to bring our left to meet our right, standing up tall, and then coming down into chair. Let's push into our feet, come up into standing, and then release into a forward fold. Halfway lift, forward fold. Pushing yourself up into standing. Hands are going to come overhead. Breathing in, breathing out. Arms are going to come by your side. Rolling your shoulders back. Taking a couple minutes here. Not minutes. A couple breaths. Let's breathe in. Hands are going to come overhead. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift. If you'd like to go through a full float, you can totally do that. And then we'll meet in a down dog. Pushing your hands into the mat. Maybe coming back to that sense of gratitude, or that one thing that you might be grateful for today. Noticing how it makes you feel. Maybe taking that feeling for the rest of the class today. Empowering through the rest of your class. And we're going to walk our hands to our feet. Maybe bringing the palms of your hands under your feet. Give your wrists a little massage. And then releasing that. And then rolling up into standing. We're going to do a couple of balancing poses here. So we're going to really focus on our right foot, grounding, making contact with the mat, and then bringing your left knee up. Maybe bringing it up a little bit higher. Your hands can be at heart center if you like. And then we're going to kick it out to the front, if that feels good. And then bend it again. And then we're going to come into airplane, so transitioning. If you need to touch down in between, feel free to do that. And wherever your arms land, And we'll slowly make our way back mindfully, stepping forward. We're going to bring our right knee up. Maybe squeezing up just a little bit more. And when you're ready, kicking it out straight. And then transitioning into Warrior 3. Again, wherever your arms land. So they can be towards the back, towards the front, at heart center. And then coming back up and stepping forward. We're going to do one more pose on each side. So we're going to bring our eagle pose. We're going to bring that left leg up again, and then bring it over our right. You can use your foot as a kickstand if you like, or you can wrap your foot around your right leg. And then bring your arms out to a T. Bring your right arm under your left. You can grab your hands, that's great. Maybe sit into this pose. Bringing all of your energy to the center. Bring your arms up just a little. And then when you're ready, releasing, shaking it out, rolling your shoulders back. And then finding your strength on the other leg, your left is making contact. Feeling strength in your left leg. Bring your right leg up. Wrapping it around at whatever degree feels good for you. Out to a T. Bring your left under your right. Sit into this pose, squeezing your energy up and down at the same time. And when you're ready, release it, shake it out. Washing machine, taking it out. And then when you're ready, bring your arms up overhead, breathing in. And then breathing out. You can go through a flow if you'd like, or we'll just end up in down dog. If you're in down dog, when you get to down dog, just taking about 3 breaths. Breathing in, releasing out. We're going to bring our left leg up to the sky, again into a 3-legged dog. Really opening up the hip, peeling open the hip. Maybe it feels a little bit more open this time than it did in the beginning of class. And then straightening that leg out, swinging it forward. We're going to open up to the wide edge of our mat in a wide-legged forward fold. Releasing your head. Let's walk our hands to the right, bending our right knee. Maybe your hands come to heart center if that feels good. And then coming over to the left, bending the left knee. And you can make this as hard or as easy. Like if you like, you can keep your hands on the mat and go back and forth, bending your right and then bending your left, or you can keep your hands at heart center and go back and forth. So doing it at your own pace with your own breath, choosing your own intensity. We'll do this maybe one more time on each side. And then coming back to center. Again, releasing. And then grabbing your right ankle with your left hand, walking your right hand out to the front, and then looking under your right arm in a twist. Then releasing that, going the opposite direction, so grabbing your left ankle with your right hand, walking your left hand out to the front, and then looking under your arm, your left arm, towards the sky. Releasing that, we're going to pivot towards the front of our mat. We're going to come into a runner's lunge. That's what that's called. We're going to heel toe our foot to the edge of the mat. And we're like in a high lizard. And then release it down. Release your right knee down to the mat if that feels good. And you can come all the way down to lizard. You can also twist and grab your back foot. Do whatever your body's craving. So wherever you are right now, we're going to transition into a high lizard. We're going to swing our right leg to the edge of the mat and then sink down into Malasana. Nice. And let's put our hands, put your hands on the mat, come up into a semi-wide-legged forward fold. We're going to heel toe our feet to hip width apart into a halfway lift, and then a forward fold. And then let's bring not right leg, left leg back, and then pivot to the wide edge of the mat. So I'm not facing you anymore. Into that wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to turn around so you can see me and my butt is not facing you. And then let's bend our knees, coming up into goddess. Here we go. Arms are in goddess. And let's just bring our hands and together, squeezing, and then bring them out. Squeeze together, and then bring them out. One more time, squeeze together, and then bring them out, and then let's come into star. Nice job, really, really, really reaching, and then sitting into your goddess. Nice. And then bringing your arms out into a T, straightening your legs, and then hinging over. Releasing your neck, releasing your head. Pivoting towards the front of your mat, heel toeing that foot to the edge of the mat again, coming into a high lizard, and then releasing your left knee down to the mat, releasing your forearms, or wherever you landed on the other side, you can do on this side. So if you did a twist or grabbed your back leg, you can transition into that. Wherever you are, you can release that. We'll all meet in a high lizard. And then we're going to swing our left leg or foot up to the front of the mat, coming into Malasana. One more time. And let's come into a twist with this Malasana. So releasing your left hand onto the mat and bring your right arm up. And then switching sides. And then coming back forward. And if you'd like to go through a flow, we will meet in down dog. I'm just going to go right into down dog. Taking a couple breaths here. Really pushing your hands into the mat. Creating that length in your spine. Let's bring your right leg up, and we're going to transition into pigeon. So before we hinge over, let's really feel the length in our spine. Maybe closing your eyes. And then hinging over. Let's walk ourselves up. We're going to swing our left leg forward. So our right foot is the inside of our left thigh. Let's breathe in, arms are going to come overhead. And then breathe out, let's fold over the straight leg. And then walk yourself up. We're going to bring our right hand to the back and we're going to push ourselves up into, I always want to call this dancer, I don't know what it is. Really feeling the length from your length from the fingertips to your toes. And then releasing down. And we're going to come in to down dog again. Bring your left leg up to the sky and then transitioning into pigeon on this side. Again, feeling the length in your spine. When you're ready, hinging over. Yourself up, swinging your right foot forward, keeping your left foot inside your right thigh. Breathing in, length, hands come overhead, and then breathing out, we're going to hinge over. Dancers, so your hips are going to come up. And then release down. Let's bring the bottoms of our feet together. So we're more like in a butterfly. So our feet are going to come forward just a little bit. And if you'd like, you can bring your arms under your legs and then grab onto your feet as you hinge over. Gives you a little bit more traction. Maybe pushing your hips down towards the earth. And then releasing that. Bring both legs forward. And then bringing both arms up overhead, elongating your spine. And maybe growing your spine just a little bit more. When you think that you cannot go any more, lengthen it any more, then hinge over. Whenever you start to feel sensation, release your head. And then walk yourself back up. Now bring the bottoms of your feet together again. This time bring your feet a little bit closer to your body in Badakanasana. elongating your spine. You can either stay here or you can hinge over, walking your hands towards the front. You can also think about pushing your knees energetically or physically towards the mat as you're in this pose. And then walking yourself up. We're going to bring both knees towards the sky. Feet are going to be planted on the mat. And then let's bring ourselves down to the mat. You can bring your hands overhead and give yourself a full body stretch. Let's bring both knees to our chest. And then allow them to fall over to the right side. Maybe you bring your arms up overhead and grab opposite elbows. And then come back to center and allow your knees to fall over to the left. And then we'll come back to center, planting your feet on the mat, knees out. We're going to come into a couple of bridge poses. So we're going through one cycle of breath, breathing in and releasing out. On your next inhale, breathing in, we're going to bring our hips up to the sky, shoulder blades shimmy together. And then release one vertebrae at a time. We're going to do that one more time. Breathing in, hips come up. Maybe you interlace your hands under your body. You might be able to get your hips up just a little bit more. And then release down. Bring your knees to your chest one more time. And maybe your forehead comes to your knees. And then release down. You can bring your hands underneath your sacrum. If you have a block, you can put your block underneath your sacrum. And bring your right leg up, and then your left in waterfall. We're going to get ready for Shavasana. So whatever you need to get ready for Shavasana, it can be more layers, more poses, lowering the lights, whatever you need. back to your breath. Maybe as you're lying here, allowing your body to rest, you think about, or you see in your mind's eye, this beautiful, brilliant light hovering right in front of you. This light is filled with a sense of peace, a sense of serenity. And this light just starts to come into your body from the crown of your head, starts to shine through your body, from the crown of your head all the way to your toes. Wherever it touches, you feel more at ease, more at peace. Your body is able to relax. Shavasana. Begin to feel warmth in the palms of your hands and the bottoms of your feet. Your breaths begin to deepen a little bit more. When you're ready, rolling over to one side. Maybe taking a couple of breaths here, giving your body a sense of grounding. And when you're ready, pushing up into a seated position, eyes closed, hands at heart center. Coming back to your intention, maybe coming back to that one thing that you're grateful for. Maybe taking that feeling, that sense of gratitude throughout your day, throughout your week. Maybe sending the merit of your practice to someone or group of people that might need it. Sending my gratitude out to you for sharing your energy with us today. The light within me honors the light within you, as we say, Namaste.